Alright, so we're going to talk about factoring special products. So the first kind of special product that we're going to factor is called perfect square trinomials. Okay, so a perfect square trinomial, see, I'm perfect. It's going to look like this. So here's an example of one, 9x squared plus 12x plus 4. So what you need to check, you need to look at the first term and see if the first term is a perfect square. And I know it's a perfect square because 3x times 3x equals 9x squared. So I should be able to factor it into the same thing. Okay, so over here I want to check if the last term is a perfect square. So I see 4, can it be broken down into the same factors? And 2 times 2, yes it can. Okay, so the first step in determining if you have a perfect square trinomial is the first term a perfect square and is the last term a perfect square. Okay, so now the first term you can say that that term is A, and then the last term, the factors you broke it down to, that's B. Okay, so the second part of it is the middle term must be equal to 2 times A times B. So remember I got A from here and I got B from here. So then I'm going to multiply and say 2 times A times B equals 12x, which is my middle term, so therefore this is a perfect square trinomial. Alright. So here we have another one. So now we're going to talk about how you would actually factor this. So first we need to check that it is a perfect square trinomial. So here we have x squared plus 12x plus 36. Step 1, are the first and last terms perfect squares? Yes, they are. Step 2, is the middle term equal to 2ab? So let's check. 2 times x times 6 is 12x. Alright, so if that's the case, it's going to make it really easy for us to factor this, and we're just going to have x plus 6 times x plus 6, or x plus 6 squared. Okay, because you're going to have each of these just become the factors, and it's pretty easy. Alright, if we go back to this first one, if we were trying to factor this, we can see that we have 3x and 2, so we would factor this as 3x plus 2 squared. Alright, so moving forward, let's try this one and see if this one is a perfect square. So we check, and the first term is a perfect square. The second term is a perfect square. Okay, so were they perfect squares? Yes. Check the middle term. 2 times A times B. So I check 2 times A times B, and that gives me 12x, which does not match my middle term. So this is not a perfect square. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it cannot be factored. I would go back to using the pants method or guess and check to see if this could be factored, because it's possible that it could be factored in another way. It just means that it is not a perfect square, and it cannot be factored using the perfect square method.